Another election year means another opportunity to teach our kids history while it's happening. But friends, I know that I am not the only one who is frustrated with the state of politics here in the US. I'm really frustrated with the way we talk to each other and about each other, the way we speak about politicians, the way we understand or don't understand how it all works. And while my circle of influence is pretty small, and I can't do much about others, but I can help my kids to be better and to talk better and to think better and to understand better. And so if that's what you want for your kids too, you're in luck, because that's today's topic. Now, what all of that looks like in practicality and what resources we're going to be using, let's talk about that. So, as I mentioned in my last update video, my boys, they're both in high school, 9th grade and 11th grade, and trying to get together work done when we're all sitting down together to do it is really hard this year. But I want to make time for it in a different way. So with the election season and learning, they are getting their work separately, but the same assignments. So that when we do come together, which we're doing on Fridays, we have time for us to sit together, but they've also done learning outside of that. If you're curious, I'm not putting this as a separate class for either one of them. It'll just count towards their history and their English credits. I just decided that was what was easiest for us. One of the easiest activities that we are going to do, and if you take no other ideas away, this is a great one to do. You know, when you get those flyers in the mail, either for your side or for the other side, usually I just toss them right into their recycle bin. But I will occasionally take a look, and if that, whatever the flyer is, has imagery on it that I can see was carefully chosen to evoke whatever kind of emotions or connections, if the flyer had any kind of sourcing on it, those are the ones that I set aside. And I give them to my kids. So then what they do with the flyer is first take a look at the flyer. What do the color schemes tell you? What do the photos chosen or the icons tell you? What does the typography tell you? What emotions are they trying to evoke in you as you look at it? And then they have to take those sources and go find the sourcing. Does the sourcing actually say what the flyer says it does? These are the kinds of things that I want them to think about, because when they do, it forces them to slow down and not just react emotionally. It forces them to critically think, and it's teaching them to go to the source and see if they match up. It is a really easy, quick, if you want it to be quick, you don't have to spend a long time on this, activity that teaches some really important critical thinking skills. So if you take nothing else from this video, take this idea. You can use it with speeches. You can use it with campaign ads you see over on YouTube, or on YouTube, here on YouTube, on the TV, whatever. Let's start with the basics. Have you ever attended a school board meeting or listened to the debate for your local mayor's race? Have you served on election day? All of these are really good ways to start learning about how the election process really works and the campaign process. If you don't have a foundation for how it all really works, like the mechanics of it, it's going to be hard to understand anything else about the elections. So some really basic resources are these Mint and Bloom lesson plans. These are 99 cents each. There's going to be 6 of them. I have a video about these. These are going to take you through just the basic parts of the election and campaign process. The first one was about the presidency and who is eligible to be president, what is involved in the job. Second one was about parties and conventions, this kind of thing. If you're interested, like I said, these are just 99 cents each, so they're super affordable. Go check out my video up there and down there if you want more. I have looked at probably 24 books about the elections and Constitution and all of this. Of all of them, I think this is the one that I would recommend as the best resource. It's called For Which We Stand, How Our Government Works and Why It Matters. And the author is a high school government teacher. It starts with what is government anyway, so it talks about types of government, and then goes into detail about the U.S. government, founding documents, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, the amendments, government in my community, how do you run for political office, how does voting work, what does the president do, what happens in Congress. This book is just absolutely fantastic. If you were going to buy one book, I think this is the one that I would recommend. The Government and Politics course from Crash Course is absolutely fantastic. It's really easy to pick just specific videos. If you've never used Crash Course before, they do build, but they are also very good at just standalone videos. So you can just pick a few of them that interest you, or the areas that maybe you need a little more information. And then I have a new brain food calendar all about the election process. And if you've never picked one of these up for me before, they're free. Each day there's a link for your kiddo. And this is for older kiddos, like 4th or 5th grade and up, to go in and learn about one curious question, in this case, all around the election process. In this one, we'll answer questions like, and down below, you'll also find all of these resources listed, plus a link to my blog post with more ideas. And then I have one more trip to the library, and then I'm going to post a library book haul with a bunch of election and Constitution critical thinking books for you. So that should be out later this week. Look for it. Now, all of these foundational resources will help your kids understand how we got to now. But what about our past? I really don't think that we can fully understand our right to vote without grappling with how hard some groups have had to fight in order to get the right to vote. And I want my kids to understand that, so that they understand the enormity of the responsibility they have every time they enter the voting booth. Now, for this section, we have been doing mostly videos. One of those is called Eyes on the Prize, which is a 6-part series from PBS. So this is definitely going to be for the older high school kids, maybe middle school, depending on your kiddo, but probably high school. It is on HBO streaming, and it's all about the civil rights era, 1960s civil rights era, and how they had to fight in order to get the right. Now, to understand women's struggles, there is a 2-part series also on PBS called The Vote. It is, again, since it's 2 parts, it is a longer video, and definitely more for middle school and high school, not because of the content, but because of the depth and the length of it. For books, I have 2 that I just picked up a couple of days ago. One of them is called Drawing the Vote, an illustrated guide to voting in America. And this one goes through the history of voting. So it starts with the American Revolution and goes all the way forward from there. It looks really good. I haven't dug into it too far yet. And the other one is called Give Us the Vote, Over 200 Years of Fighting for the Ballot. And the inside says, for more than 200 years, people have marched, gone to jail, risked their lives, and even died fighting for the right to vote. She also has a couple other ones that I thought looked interesting. She has a Freedom Summer and Board versus the Board of Education. So I would say this one is probably good for middle school or upper elementary together. This one is a graphic novel, but I would say is probably middle school or high school level. And then one more video is called The Barber of Birmingham. The Barber of Birmingham follows well, what the title says, a barber who actually was Martin Luther King Jr.'s barber, and about the role of barbershop in some communities, and specifically this barber and his role in the civil rights era. So it's one that we have not watched. I've watched bits and pieces to get an idea of it, but we've not watched it yet, and I'm really excited to watch it. So I've given some resource ideas for building that foundation of understanding the process, and some ideas on how to better understand that struggle to where we are to now. But how did America even end up with this voting process, this style? How did that come to be? And it's been a really long time since our homeschool has really dug into the American Revolution period in any real way. And I'm excited for it because when I was in school, I hated this time period. I didn't care. I didn't understand how it impacted me. I just didn't care. And then we used Story of the World, and I saw it in a whole new light, and I loved it. I really finally understood the real importance of this time period in a way that I just didn't before. So we will start with Story of the World. Yes, it is a basic level. My kids are older and they've got a lot of information in their head. And so it may seem really kind of weird to choose to go all the way back to an elementary curriculum, but it is so well done. The chapters are short, so it will be a quick read. I will probably read it aloud to them. It won't take us long, a few chapters, and we're done. But it'll give us a really good reminder of what that time period was even like. And speaking of things that we liked when they were young, Liberty's Kids. Yes, it's a cartoon. And yes, my boys asked if we could include it in this. We will not watch every episode again, but they used to love them. We kept a couple different educational videos in our car for the DVD player. Popular Mechanics for Kids was one, and then Liberty's Kids was another. And they have so much knowledge about this time period and the Constitution and the Revolution because of these videos. So yes, it seems ridiculous, but they're well done. And they're not going to be great for most middle school or high school kids. They're going to think it's dumb. But if you have younger kids or you used to watch them with your kids, this is a great time to pull those out and get a refresher on all of it. But for more on-level learning, we are going to use iCivics, which is a website that was actually started by Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. And it has lesson plans and games and all kinds of resources for learning about civics education. In particular, there are 3 units that we're going to use: Road to the Constitution, Citizen Participation, and then the election and voting. These units have everything already laid out for you. For younger kids, Ben's Guide to the Government is a similar type of website with similar type of learning. It's fantastic. It can be done independently, so I would definitely check out that. Now, if you want just some general resources and inspiration, C-SPAN has it's called C-SPAN Classroom, Smithsonian Learning Lab, PBS Learning, Library of Congress. Those are all great resources for primary resources or primary sources for lesson plan ideas, for different media types. And they are some of my first sites that I go to when I am just looking for inspiration to help me figure out where I even want to go with it. Of course, you can also click on the videos on your screen, my election resource videos, and I will see you over there.